retirement is a big transition.
Mhm.
And because we have attached to it our identity,
Yeah. I am my work. Yeah.
we
Uh-huh.
have finances attached to it. We also have time spent. So for couples, it's the time spent apart that we each build up our own life. And now we're spending time together. And it really highlights the quality of our connection. Any cracks in the foundation of our relationship really get tested and highlighted.
Today's guests are a powerhouse duo in the world of relationships. Jeff and Ellen, seasoned relationship coaches who specialize in helping couples strengthen their connection through life's biggest challenges and transitions. With decades of experience, both Jeff and Ellen bring a unique insight into compassion and practical tools to help couples not only survive in the next chapter, but thrive in the next chapter. Whether it's rediscovering connection, improving communication, or building what they call relational intelligence, Jeff and Ellen are here to guide couples through all of it. So I'm really excited to have a conversation with Jeff and Ellen. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Thanks so much for having us.
thanks, Margaret. It's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're so happy to be here and talk about our very favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. So let's dive right into it. As how did you get into relationship coaching and how did you decide to do it together?
Well, we were both coaches, so we have a long history of being life coaches. When we met, though, we realized our life coaching knowledge was not enough to help us in our relationship. So it really is born out of our own journey and our own story.
Our own pain, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The passion that brought us together was also showing up in our arguments. And we knew enough as coaches to know if we kept this up, we know we were heading down a path of deterioration in our relationship. So
Mm.
we decided to go out and find a way to how do relationships work? I mean, that was in essence what we were asking. How do you do this thing called relationship and set it up so that it can be long term and less painful? And so that led us to our journey that takes us to where we are now. And then the reason we do this work is two reasons. One, the things we found out, we realized we were never taught. It just doesn't show up in our culture. It's not taught to us. It's not
Mhm.
modeled. So we should start teaching and sharing what we've learned.
Hmm.
And then the other reason we do it is we realize it's the best self-help we've ever had. The people we became individually as
Yeah.
a result, is some of the best changes we've had because of the work we've done as a couple.
Wow. So you started researching and then just started teaching yourselves, like what things that you needed to do to not only be better together, but also better as in a teaching role.
Yeah. And we researched and found out one main school of marriage counseling called Imago. And
Mhm.
Imago is quite famous for Harville and Helen Hendricks.
Mm.
And there are many books on how to get the love that you want. And so we did a workshop with them, loved it so much that we got certified as Imago facilitators of that process. And then I continue on to learn about the Gottman Institute from John and Julie Gottman. And so I have my level 2 training in marriage therapy in that. And so it's been sort of an amalgam
Yeah.
of Imago and Gottman, and also your background as a corporate coach, and for me as a corporate coach, and trying to fit the pieces together. Like what's actually practical? Like, some things sound nice, but what's actually practical that's real life that we actually use?
Yeah.
And because if it's working for us, that's what we want to communicate to other people.
Yeah.
Got it. So building the structure of like how you do things, tell me about what lights you up and what keeps coming you back every day.
For us, it's to see the pain dial get turned down in people's lives.
That's huge.
That's,
To
yeah.
know that we can have an effect to reduce their pain.
And
That's
to
massive.
see them light up, though, when they realize that they actually can control the dial, like, oh, I know what to do now to turn it down. That lights us up. Yeah.
We want couples to be competent in catching arguments early so that they can renegotiate that. It's sort of seeing an obstacle down the road and saying, "Oh, it's arriving. We're coming to that point. We're arriving at the conflict moment. So let's slow down." And to give them the skills so that they can do that I think is really great because it's offloading what we know to them, and like, there you go. You're good to go.
Yeah, because the idea is that, relationships shouldn't be rocket science. You shouldn't need a PhD to be able to do and understand relationships. So, what are the basic building blocks? And once we identify them and we can habitualize to them, then we have more control over our outcomes.
Got it. So you're kind of like teaching the teaching in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We consider ourselves really relationship educators. That's really what we think of ourselves as.
And sometimes when we're working with couples, we'll facilitate an argument that they're having. So they may be saying, like, we're having difficulty with this. And so we're like, okay, let's be in it. And so we'll hear them speak, and then we will interject and say, okay, let's pause here. There's a moment for breath. How about you repeat back what they say? Okay, now try this. How about this? And so we work with them
Yeah.
to negotiate their conflict.
Wow, you're kind of like right in it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we that's our fave. We'd love to get right in because that's the real stuff. That's what they really live in, and so and when we're not trained to see it, it's kind of like if anyone has a dog, and you think I don't know what's going on with my dog, but they give you these subtle cues. Once you learn about your dog and you get trained, you realize that ear wasn't just flicking a fly off. That ear was moving because they're letting you know they're being bothered by something or they're turning their head. Everything actually means something. We just are untrained as dog owners to notice it. Well, it's the same thing in relationship. The cues are there. We're just not trained to notice it and then also know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So, in doing this work for so many years, is there anything that surprised you or that kind of like came out of left field of like, wow, I didn't realize that it was going to have that kind of effect, or you learned something like an aha moment kind of thing?
I think one thing that surprised me actually was how hard it is to get couples to come to get the support that they need, to get two people bought in and committed to the process.
How long it takes, how much time goes by, and how much pain people experience before they get sort of backed into a corner to say, okay, now we'll reach out for help. The second for me was surprising just for us that I think the best self-help, the best learning for me has been in my relationship with Ellen. I learned more about me in this relationship than going off to do a book or a retreat. That's really the most self-discovery I've had.
Actually, I have to say ditto on that. Like it's, I have a background of like growing up. I had one of those parents who was really into self-help. So I feel like I grew up in this self-help movement. And I've tried so many things and nothing has led to the changes, personally than the work we've done together, relationship work.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we can hide in personal work. I only have to
Oh.
work on the part I feel like working on, and I can hide the rest. But when you have a partner who sees it all,
Nope.
and that part you're hiding, that's the part I really would like you to pay attention to because that's the part that's really bothering me
Yeah.
and is
Uh-huh.
causing problems in our relationship. Then you're forced to look at it, and it's more of a forced growth experience, but a really beneficial one.
Yeah.
So you kind of talk about the pain points a little bit. Like what do you see are people experiencing right before they come to you or reach out and go, I can't handle it? Whether it's they see it in themselves or like you guys, like you see it in each other.
I mean, I think it's a really broad range, right? Because I think we have couples who see that they just aren't enjoying the frequency and the peskiness of the argument. So they're being a little more on the proactive side and like I don't want to wait till this gets bad. Although I think that's more rare. But then we have all the way to like where there's extramarital affairs happening. Um,
The divorce talk comes up,
yeah.
um, that there is a lot of loneliness, a lot of silence
Uh-huh.
in their house, that they just avoiding contact, looking for ways to not come home.
Uh,
It can get pretty bad and pretty isolating. And I think it's when that pain highlights and it becomes so much front and center in their lives that they recognize we have to do one of two things. We're going to end this relationship or we're going to have some outside help. And I
Yeah.
think that's sort of the turning point, because then people are really in. They're engaged. They're invested to making a change. And that's
Yeah.
really the point, that when their ears open up and they really want to see, they want to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Um, in your work, you talk about something called relational intelligence. If you could just, kind of break that down for us as far as that, or how it helps couples understand themselves and each other better.
Sure. Yeah.
And we're like, you
Do
want to
you
go?
want to?
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
relational intelligence is, just in simple terms, it's the key skills to learn for you to be an active participant in relationships, so that relationships can continue over time. So, using analogy like of a team, if Ellen and I are on a team, and let's say hockey, we're on a hockey team, there's lots of skills that I have to learn. I have to learn how to handle the puck, pass the puck, shoot, score, play offense, defense, many positions. Um, and that makes me a good member of the team. But
Wow.
it doesn't matter how great skills I am not the team. I need another team member for us to make this team, and she needs the same skills.
Yeah.
And so it's these key skills that help people fight better, but also, what are you doing when you're not fighting?
Mm.
Like, how are you engaging in the relational space to make this engagement good for me and for you, for us, so that we can co-create really good experiences for a long period of time. And so that's really relational intelligence, becoming aware of what are the key skills for
Yeah.
your central relationships in your life.
In essence, it is the competency we have in the realm of
Mm.
relationship. And, it's sort of that, what is your relational level of competency?
Hmm.
What do you allow to take in, or what are you missing? And that has an impact, a direct impact on the quality of your relational exchanges, from whether it's in your community or whether it's with a romantic partner.
Yep.
Got it. One part of your program is building a community.
Yeah.
If you can talk for a minute about the community that you've built as far as within your work together, and then how that sense of community kind of feeds your work as people share with each other.
So we started a group, we actually call it Joy Now. It's about not putting off joy, but finding the joy now in whatever is happening in your life. How do you still connect and operate with some kind of connection to joy? We love community, and why we started community is we know that life is one giant co-creation. If you're going to
Mm.
work on relationship skills, you have to work on it in the presence of other humans. Otherwise, working on it on your own actually doesn't teach you more we skills. It just teaches you more I and skill. And other people can ask the question that sometimes you didn't even know you had or don't feel comfortable asking.
And sometimes hearing other people's
Mm.
question helps you to have your ears more open, because you're not sitting in the hot seat. So, not
Oh,
sitting in the hot seat, you're more receptive to hearing answers. And it also promotes more normalcy, like,
Yeah.
oh, they're going through the same thing, or oh, I have that same trouble. And
It's not just me.
yeah, so for us to meet with regularity, and we meet every week, where we come together, and it's sort of a pause moment to catch and say, okay, we're in the middle of the week. And so, what's coming up? What's
okay.
happening in your world? What's happening in your life? And there's a lot of commonality. A lot of people have the same question happening. And so we meet so that we can talk and bring things to consciousness, and talk out things so that we can rebalance,
Hmm.
so that we can have more joy now.
And it gives us a chance to also build language skills. One of the barriers we
Oh,
found in helping couples in their relationship is actually there's a language. There is not just skill, but there's a language around the skill that we don't have. And so by talking about these skills every week, we start to normalize the language so they have access to it,
oh,
and feel comfortable using it. And then the other thing is change. People want change to happen really fast. Like, I'm in pain. We're coming to see you. Tell us what we have to do so we can get out of it and we're good to go, right? Bye. See you. Thank you. But, and if it was only that easy, we'd all be looking for different jobs, right? So it takes time. The same way we got into these patterns is repetition over time. And now because we actually have to wire over conditioning or with other conditioning, it actually takes conscious effort. So we know that you need to have like a pass at that language. It's literally like learning another language, another way of being and another consciousness. So every week you get to touch it. Every week, you get to revisit it, and that helps make sustainable change over time.
Excellent. One of the areas that I help people with and supporting people with through is retirement.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's a big shift as far as in people's lives. Can you share some examples of where you've had dynamics change with couples, whether it be retirement or empty nesting or, different things as far as that have kind of shifted the dynamics in a bigger way and how people kind of navigate that?
So anytime we build life up around a habit or a routine, and then we take a big component, whether it's children out or your job out, it already causes a big transition. Because where am I going to put my energy that was going to this thing? Where is it going to go, and where am I going to direct it? And what is my identity going to be? In this new state, retirement is a big transition,
Mhm.
and because we have attached to it our identity.
Yeah. I am my work. Yeah.
We
Uh-huh.
have finances attached to it. We also have time spent. So for couples, it's the time spent apart that we each build up our own life. And now we're spending time together. And it really highlights the quality of our connection. Any cracks in the foundation of our relationship really get tested and highlighted.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so we have some couples who have come. I'm thinking of one where she was the stay-at-home mom. She had built up a routine with her adult children. She also has an artistic side, doing lots of courses, and found her way. And then when her husband retired, who's high energy, loves to be engaged in projects, so he kind of turned to her. She was the next project. I know. I'll fix my wife who doesn't feel like she needs fixing.
Yeah.
And you know what else we'll do? We'll travel. So now he wanted to be out of town and traveling and being away and enjoying his freedom, where she wanted to be here doing her courses or connecting with the children and their grandchildren. And so they had to learn how to renegotiate where and how they put their energy into each other, what projects, and what's a realistic and
Mhm.
reasonable request to ask of each other. All of that has to be renegotiated.
Yeah. That's a big answer because it's a
Yeah.
big answer. There's it's huge.
It's many parts.
It's redefining what does us mean
Oh.
because prior to retirement we have very much things going on for each other.
Yeah.
And then now when those things are gone, where are we turning our attention? Is it towards more to each other, or are we moving on to the next project, the next stage of life? And so it's not a weekend conversation.
No, it's a lot. And
Yeah.
then we realize there's certain things we've been tolerating in our partner's behavior, but we're like, it's okay. I just have to tolerate because he's going to be out of the house or she's going to be out of the house and, in 20 minutes and they're off to work. And then I can get a break from that and, get my own thing and then,
And then
and then see him at dinner.
and
And
now it's like you're still
you're
here.
still here. Uh,
You haven't gone away.
and I don't get a break from that quality that really irks me and grates my nerves.
Yeah.
So, and then if I don't have the skills and the language to address it, it's going to absolutely blow up
Yeah.
day after day after day. So,
Talk to me a little bit about that communication kind of thing, like that with that change of it. Is it like asking for what you need? Like, is it setting boundaries? Like what kinds of things does that go into?
yes, and yes. And
Yeah. It's almost like a scientific experiment. So prior to retirement, I have my desire, my need, my thing, and I go to work and I get it done. And then same thing with you. You
yeah,
either have your work and you get it done. But then now becomes this scientific experiment. How do we have joy? And how do we have joy for you? And so what are the conditions that have to be met for you and I to have joy being together? And that's more challenging. So for a real example, if Ellen and I are going for a walk and she says, I want to go outside and I want to walk the dog. And I say, okay, yes, but can we walk on a quiet street? So now we have the experiment of how do we walk the dog and also have this other condition, which is only walking the dog on quiet streets so that we can talk. Well, that makes it a little bit more complicated than just going for a walk.
Mm.
And so for
Right.
retired couples, it's the same thing of, so how do we make these conditions so that you win and I win together? And so it has to
Mhm.
be a hell yes together, or we just veto and say no decision. So it's learning about compromise.
Mhm.
It's learning about yielding to win. It is about boundaries to say, okay, I'm flexible, but I'm now hitting my limit. It's
'Cause it
about
has to be
communicating
it
those.
has to be balanced, so it's not one-sided.
It's about having more clear conversations about emotions to saying, I'm feeling railroaded here. I'm not feeling listened to. And speaking need, saying, I have a need to be able to make decisions as well. I don't always want to feel forced to say yes.
And just that unto itself is a growth edge for people because we're often taught not to express our needs. We can imply needs, but we're not taught to ask or express needs. So just learning how to express your needs, and then the partner has to learn how to hear and receive that need.
Yeah.
So there's so many conversations. So it really requires building a process so that it doesn't matter the topic, you have a
Mhm.
structure for communication and a process that you both agree on and respect so that no matter what comes up, because you're going to deal with sex as you age. You're going to deal what happens when one partner retires before the other. That can
Um,
bring up all kinds of dynamics from envy just to feeling off. You're going off and having your life finances. When you move from paychecks to fixed income, suddenly that can bring up what do we buy? How do we spend?
How do we change our shopping and spending? And
Yeah.
yep. Yeah.
And then when I'm having identity issues and I don't know how to deal with it and I'm not owning what's actually happening in me, then am I taking it out on my partner?
Interesting. Yeah.
It's a massive ball of
It
wax.
is. Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the boundaries too, because then you're retired. So if you have children and grandchildren, oh, you're free. You have nothing that you're doing. Your life now becomes ours. So can you come babysit? Can you come on vacation with us?
And
Are you,
one partner may say yes, absolutely, yes, yes, anytime, and the other partner's like, whoa, 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 what? Well, not anytime. I don't want it any time. So then one person becomes the spokesperson for the couple. And then that's where the silencing happens and the power dynamics and
the arguments
how
and
do we share power here? It's just a continuation
And
of these
so it
conversations.
can really set up a very hostile environment very quickly. And then many people just do it. Just like we get into relationships, we just do it. We actually don't realize there's conversations we should be having from the get go, like from dating, let alone from marriage, then from bringing children in, and then like retirement. And we don't have those conversations. We just do it and kind of just think, I don't know, we'll figure it out. I don't know. We'll just do it. We're just going to retire. We're just going to do it. And then we realize,
Throw the
well,
chips up in the
what are
air.
one or two questions as far as somebody prepares for retirement, whether you're both retiring or one's retired and the other one's not retired yet? What are a couple questions that could be like conversation starters for people that are in that situation, that they start being able to communicate themselves or their needs, like you said, as far as that, like where they could start to either do it themselves and or with someone else as they negotiate retirement?
I mean,
I yeah,
go ahead.
I think having some sort of vision of what's the second half, what's the back nine of my life, what do I see happening? I might say, I want to get a dog,
Mhm.
a big Saint Bernard dog, and
Mhm.
and that's what I want to know, and just have coffee and sit with the dog, and that's kind of what I want to do 7 days a week. And so the other
Mm.
person's, oh, okay, that's a different. I don't. That's not the vision.
Ooh, that
Uh,
vision actually makes my insides go, ooh, really tight.
so to have that conversation so that you're like, for my next chapter of my life, this is what I want to do. And to be clear about that. Someone might say, okay, I'm done this one career. I want to have my own business now. I want to have a small business. Then I'm going to go to the markets around the city, maybe travel. And the other partner may be like, oh, okay, I had no idea that that's what you, I don't know. So to be clear about what the
Sure.
vision is,
Yeah.
because you may have a lot of history, you may have some present, but do you have a future that's aligned?
Mm.
And to have those conversations now to say, this is what I want for life so that we can renegotiate. Maybe we're not, maybe we don't get a big St. Bernard dog. Maybe we share a dog with someone that we could say, hey, we get to babysit your dog when we're in town, but we're not in town because we are traveling. So to have those kind of conversations so that we still maintain our relationship. What's more important? Is us more important than the dog? Then we're going to
Mm.
negotiate having a dog because this is much more important than a dog.
And then in those conversations, you can bring up also, what are you excited about in retirement? But also, what are you worried about? And if the partner says nothing, then I'd say, dig deeper.
Get that pickaxe, get
Yeah.
shovel.
All transition is a mixed affair.
Mhm.
And it's not doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means you're a real human and we feel a mix of things. It has to be there. And so if you start putting them on the table now when it's small, you can talk about them. And that's what we talk about. They need that regular pass. That's why we talk about it in our group. We set it up so things can be addressed on a regular basis.
And be always open-ended.
Yeah.
All conversations to be open-ended so
Mhm.
that there's no one and done. We've talked about it. We agreed. Because then
That's
that's
major.
forcing a decision when we should always have an updated saying, hey, are we still good with getting a dog?
Yeah, and you're like, I like the dog, but
Right.
I realized I don't want the fur from the Saint Bernard.
Right.
So and
Oh,
the
okay.
slobber. So
Okay.
can
Can we
we
update,
yeah,
update, update? And
yeah,
so to
Huh.
have a one big open ended conversation,
conversation.
um, so that there's no finality. Only when we have a dog in the house, then we know, oh, I guess that we're done those decisions. But to not promote quick and rash decisions, because this is decisions for owning a dog is not a and I pick something simple like owning a dog, but owning a dog is not that simple when they never grow up, they never end up taking care of themselves, and on weekends they're still there. It's a huge commitment to just claim, oh, let's just get a dog.
Right. So interesting. Everything is a process, and having it open ended where you could always renegotiate, but because circumstances may have changed.
Absolutely. You get to revisit everything as it needs to. We are evolving beings. The person I am today is different because of this experience.
And that's what I find is so exciting about um, our marriage,
Yeah.
working
That's what
together
keeps
as a
the spice
couple,
in it.
because this is not the same woman that I married. And I find that just really exciting. I find that like I get to become different. And so our relationship is not the same. It shouldn't be because we each evolve. I'm excited. Like, who are you going to become this year?
Yeah. Wait, you just wait.
But I think that's the thing is like we're not destinations.
Hmm.
We're not endpoints. We're continually evolving, just like anything in nature, like a tree, always becoming. And
Right.
so for us, what are we always becoming? And I think to
Yeah.
negotiate that conversation all the time, because we can move left, we can move right, we
Yeah.
can go
We
here,
can
we can go
pivot.
there, we can pivot. And I find that's when we engage in that dynamic kind of energy, that's very exciting.
And that's when people say, what's this keeps your relationship so spicy and so fresh. That's what it is. Because the stuff gets stale. The external stuff, buying stuff, going places, and it gets expensive. But that actually can wane. But we get excited to talk and become together. And I love, same thing. I love seeing your approach, your perspective, how it's changed, how it impacts me and that we get to talk about it in real time all the time.
Yeah.
That keeps it because that keeps us connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This was a great conversation. Do you want to give the audience uh, some information as far as how to work with you, or your social media?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so on our website is jeffandellen.com
And that's Jeff, Jeff.
and Ellen, ELLEN.com. YouTube and Instagram are both at Jeff and Ellen White. And
And there's links on our website to our Join Now community. But if you're familiar with the school platform, and that's school SKOOL, then you can look up Join Now, and you can join. You find our About Us page, and you can actually join right from there. We make it incredibly affordable because we want to make it easy. We want to make help easy. It shouldn't be a luxury item. It should be accessible.
Excellent. I appreciate the meaningful conversation, the candidness between you two as far as the vibe. I can see where couples feel really, really comfortable like working with you because you kind of get in there and you're not afraid to share your own experience. And I think that's super important, to be real and to go, this is a big change or challenge. And you said a couple things as far as process and making sure that you have a voice for your needs and it's negotiating. So I thought that that was some great points from today. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about their work, check out their social media and their community sites. I will definitely have that in the links below. But thanks again, Jeff and Ellen. It's been a real pleasure having you on the show.
oh,
Thanks.
So
thanks, Margaret.
appreciate it, Margaret. We loved it.
Yeah.